We have an algorithm for this. When a table is given, what we need to do is, let us say this is a table with various numbers or values given in that table. Let us say it is a 5 by 5 matrix. In 5 by 5 matrix, what we try to do is, we try to solve this problem by steps. Say first step is, we have to identify the minimum value in each row and subtract that element from each of the element of that corresponding row. That means each row we have to find out least value in each row, and that from that corresponding row that has to be subtracted. Likewise, we will get again one table. After getting that, then we will proceed to step 2. So then we will observe each of the column. If it is a 5 by 5 matrix, we have 5 columns also. In that case, the first column we will observe. We will find out what is the least value after first step. Then that least element or value has to be subtracted. Then we will go to second column. Then we have to find out the least value in that column and subtract that from that corresponding, that means second column. In third column, we will find out the least value. That element has to be subtracted from the third column. Likewise, fourth column, fifth column. Now we will see. Now we have second table. That means first we have got the problem table or matrix. First step we have conducted from deducting the or subtracting the least value from each row. Then we have found out from that table we have identified each of the columns, and then lowest value from each of the columns is subtracted, and now we got a table. Now we have to start assigning. The step 3 is we start from first row. We start from first row. If there is a single zero in that row, then we will mark it with a box. Then we wherever we have marked, we look at the wherever we have marked that box, we look at that column, and if any zeros are there, we will strike off them. Then we will go to second row. If there is a single zero, we will make assignment, and then we will strike off those zeros in the corresponding column. Likewise, only for single zero rows. If single zero rows are not available, leave that row. Whether there may be 2 zeros or 3 zeros, we are not going to touch that. Then third row, fourth row, fifth row, likewise. We are going to make assignments only for single zero rows, and zeros corresponding in that column wherever we have made assignment, they will be striken off. Then we proceed column wise. Then we will check first column where we have single zeros or not. If single zero is there, we will assign, we will put a box, we will mark that with a box and check the corresponding row, and we will try to strike off all the zeros in that row. Then second column for single zero, third column for single zero, fourth column for single zero. Likewise, we try to do. If at all we are able to make assignment in a problem of 5 by 5, that is okay. Otherwise, what we will do is, we will proceed, then we will go for single zero row, single zero column check is over. Next step, if assignment is not complete, we will go for 2 zero rows. Then we will make assignment for one of the zeros and strike off the other zero. Then we will go for second row, third row, fourth row. Then we will check similarly for 2 zero columns. Likewise, we will do. That is the assignment we are going to do that. Okay, just now we have discussed whether the assignment is over for 5 by 5 matrix or table. So even after checking for single zeros rows, single zero columns, then double zero rows, double zero columns, entire thing is over, but we couldn't get the kind of assignments. That means 5 assignments we haven't got. In that event, what we need to do? So whatever the table we have got after reducing, that means row operation and column operation, what we try to do is we draw the lines, all the zeros, and we draw lines such that all the zeros are striking out. That the number of lines should be as minimum as possible, but the line should pass through all the zeros. Those lines can be vertical lines or those lines can be horizontal lines, but no zero should be left out. So we try to draw the lines through all the zeros, and then some of the elements are left out. Then whatever the elements or numbers which are left out in the table, that means no lines have passed through them, we have to identify the lowest element of the elements which are not striken off, and what we need to do is the lowest element of that has to be subtracted from all the elements which are not striken off. That is one thing. Second thing is we have to write the numbers as it is when the lines have just passed through the number. Third thing is we have to add the lowest element to the elements where there is intersection of lines on those elements. That means when you have drawn the lines, what happens, all the zeros are striken off and they will pass through some numbers, and there are some situations where there will be intersection of lines, the elements are lying. So those places we have to add the numbers, and we have to write as it is where only lines pass through, and we have to subtract where the numbers are not striken off. Then we will write off that table. Then again we start the similar way, like first row operation. Row operation, that means first row you check for single zero, then second row you check for single zero, third row, fourth row, fifth row, likewise whatever the number of rows that exist. Then we will go for column operation. Right, we will check for a single zero column, first row, second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row. Then double zero rows, then double zero columns. Then we try to see. Even then we are not able to assign. Then again we have to repeat for the existing table the same way what we have done again. Draw the lines on the table or on the elements, row wise or column wise, so as to strike off all the zeros. But those lines should be as minimum as possible.